up, Jayhawks, and happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Run It Back. I'm your host, Jamison Mangold. We're just a couple days away from fall break, so we have a lot to cover today to keep you updated while we're away. We're hitting on KU football, volleyball, and soccer, and some NFL and NBA. Finally, stick around to see what our students think about some of our basketball players. Let's get into it all right now on Run It Back. Our women's soccer team has had one outstanding season, and last week they entered the first round of the NCAA Women's Soccer Championship. Their season is wrapping up with this tournament, so Alex is updating on all that's to come. And our soccer team isn't the only ladies dominating. Women's basketball is still undefeated after a border war with Mizzou last week. They're ready to take on more wins. Gabby is covering them, and after quite some time away, football is finally going to be back in the booth, Friday, November 28th. The perfect way to spend the day after Thanksgiving by maybe even bringing some turkey leftovers to the tailgate. Jimmy is back with a preview on their game against Utah. Finally, volleyball had a rematch with K-State last week to prove we are the better Kansas team. So Mia is hitting the courts as she dives into what's to come for volleyball as they end their season this week. All this soon. First, Alex is taking us to the pitch.
Thanks, Jamison. Kansas women's soccer has had an incredible couple of weeks as they advance their way through the NCAA tournament. Yesterday, the women's team took on Louisville, and after a thrilling 3-1 win, Kansas soccer is heading to the Sweet 16 for only the third time in school history. It was an intense start after Louisville's first scored. Faith Johnson netted her second goal of the NCAA tournament to even up the game. Kansas has had several opportunities to gain the lead, one being a great shot from Jocelyn Herema in the 64th minute, but it was deflected over the crossbar by the Louisville goalkeeper to preserve the 1-1 game. As the tie continued on through the match, Growski tapped in an impressive goal to give Kansas a 2-1 lead with just over 8 minutes remaining. The game finished strong as Lexi pushed the lead to 2 with her 11th goal of the season. Kansas held a 17-6 advantage on shots, including a 7-3 on goal, and also dominated corner kicks 10-1. It was a memorable performance for multiple players. Caroline Castens broke the single-season school record with her 14th and 15th assists on the first 2 Kansas goals. Johnson recorded her second goal of the NCAA tournament, while Growski netted a career-high 10th goal of the year, and Watts extended her personal best to 11. The momentum doesn't end here. Kansas will be playing in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2019. Over the last 2 seasons, Kansas now has 19 road and neutral wins, which is the most in the country. The Jayhawks have never advanced beyond the Sweet 16, and we can't wait to cheer them on as they face number 2 seed Duke on Sunday in the third round of the NCAA tournament. As exciting as KU soccer has been, that's not all the buzz around KU women's sports right now. Here's Gabby with all the updates on KU women's basketball.
Thank you, Alex. Women's basketball continues their undefeated season going 5-0. With the Jayhawks win over Mizzou at the Border Showdown over this weekend, Wednesday night's game was even better against the Minnesota Gophers. Prior to tip-off, the Gophers, along with our women's team, were 4-0. Now, I'm a little bit biased, but I had a strong feeling KU would continue on a winning streak, and I was right. Anyways, back to Wednesday night's game, Samaya Nichols started things off right away with a 2-pointer for the Hawks. After that, points just kept rolling. First quarter had some great shots and some great assists. Elle Evans hit her first 3 of the night late into the first as well. To finish up the first half, the Gophers came back strong and ended halftime trailing the Hawks by 2 points at 29 KU, 27 Minnesota. Back from the half, Minnesota came back as they stayed close behind the Hawks, only trailing by points. Speaking of points, they were getting put up left and right, which definitely made this game interesting to watch. The Gophers put up a tough fight and came close to a win, but Minnesota's Maura Brown missed shot ended the game. The Jayhawks finished with a 63-57 win over the Gophers. The women will be back in Allen on Sunday as they take on the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles at 2 p.m. and hopefully continue on their undefeated season. But before you tune into the women's game Sunday, don't forget our football team is on the road to take on Iowa State at 11 a.m. It's the last road matchup for the Hawks and you don't want to miss it. Up next, we have Jimmy with his outlook on KU football and hoping for a big win this weekend in Ames.
Thank you, Gabby. The Jayhawks are back in action this weekend, and they return from their bye week with something to prove. The last time we saw KU, they were locked in a tight battle with the Arizona Wildcats, a game that came down to the final moments. Kansas had a chance to pull out a win, but couldn't keep Arizona out of the end zone late, ultimately falling 24-20. That loss stung, but Kansas still has an opportunity to be bowl eligible. Both teams come into this one fresh off their bye weeks. And both teams come in with identical goals: reset, regroup, and get back in the win column. Before their week off, Iowa State beat TCU with a 20-17 win. And what makes that game interesting is how they won it. Quarterback Rocco Beck struggled to find a rhythm, completing only 9 of his 24 pass attempts. But the Cyclones didn't panic. Instead, they leaned heavily on their run game, and running back Carson Hansen delivered, finishing with 108 yards on the ground. And it wasn't flashy, but it was effective, and it gave Iowa State just enough to control the pace, and close it out. So now both teams enter this matchup with time to regroup, time to adjust, and time to focus on what's ahead. For Kansas, it's about cleaning up the small mistakes that cost them in Tucson, and tightening up late-game defense. For Iowa State, it's a time to prove that the run game can be a reliable weapon again, especially against a Kansas defense that is ranked near the bottom of the Big 12 in run defense. Road conference games are never easy, and Ames has a way of creating chaos. But with both teams reset, both teams off close games, and both teams trying to build off momentum in the Big 12 race, this one has all the makings of a tight competitive matchup. Kickoff from Jack Trice Stadium is set for Saturday at 11 a.m. Central. Kansas and Iowa State both fresh off the bye and ready to make a statement. Now let's toss it to Mia.
Thanks, Jimmy. What an exciting upcoming week for football. I know I'm hoping for a KU win tomorrow. What's up, Jayhawk Nation? The excitement doesn't stop with football as KU volleyball just got a 3-set sweep against K-State last Saturday in Manhattan. The Hawks made a crazy comeback, stepping into enemy territory. After a shocking loss in Lawrence, the Lady Hawks came into this game more hungry than ever, ready to make amends, this time in Jayhawk fashion. Starting out the game strong, the Jayhawks took the first set 25-20. Big kills from Reese Patak carrying with her swings, and same for Giovanna Zelenovic and Ryan Swanson, leading the team with 10 kills each in the match. Defensively, the team secured 8 team blocks, with Aisha Iono tallying 4 total alone. It's clear the team came with one goal in mind, and that was redemption. The next 2 sets would only get better, with the Hawks taking the second set easy, 25-20, and the last set 26-24 to earn a 3-set sweep. Next up on Wednesday night, the Hawks' momentum fell short against Utah in Salt Lake City. One too many errors for the Jayhawks caused Utah to take an early 5-0 run in the first set to get up 15-9. KU kept fighting, eventually cutting the lead to 18-14, but despite the push from Kansas, the Utes forced a 3-0 run, which closed out the set 25-20. The next set was another battle with back-and-forth leads from KU and Utah, but the dynamic was dipping. After multiple point-for-point battles, the push wasn't enough, and the Hawks came up short in the second and third set, leaving the Utes with a 3-set sweep. Keep your head up, Hawks, because we've got a chance to take the W against BYU tonight at 7 p.m. Make sure you tune in and support our team. It's been my pleasure keeping you up to date with KU women's sports this semester, but we still have the rest of the show to get sentimental. That's all for volleyball, but come back after the break for more sports on RunitBack.
KU supports community, creativity, Kansas. The University of Kansas provides statewide medical outreach, first responder training, cybersecurity protection, childhood development support, and economic gains amounting to over $7 billion every year. Every day, Kansas Jayhawks serve the world by creating a better future. The world is safer, healthier, stronger because of what KU creates.
From the KU soccer field to another, we have quite a bit of soccer talk today, as the 2026 World Cup will be taking place right here in the U.S. And even better, games will be in Kansas City too. Sam is taking a look into this. Then there's nothing better than a glimpse into Sundays with a Thursday night NFL game. And Patrick has all the details on what went down last night with Buffalo versus Houston. Finally, to end our pro segment off, Caden is hitting us with some NBA updates. First, Sam with some soccer.
Well, 48 nations will play at the 2026 World Cup in North America. This expanded field raises questions about the quality of competition we may get, but it does make qualification a little more interesting. More spots means more teams qualify, and that simple math generated some pretty cool moments in the nearly complete qualification journey. We begin in Europe, where you have a dozen groups that concluded on Tuesday. If you top the group you're in, that puts England through. They were the quickest to qualify, along with Croatia, Belgium, Norway, Austria, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, France, Scotland, Switzerland, and Germany. A few droughts, all dating back to 1998, were snapped. Norway is heading to its first World Cup since '98 and had the most dominant campaign of any side, won all 8 matches, scoring 37 goals and conceding just 5. They bashed Italy a couple times as well. Erling Haaland provided 16 of the goals, which doubles the second-place scores in UEFA qualifiers. For 2 other nations, it came down to that final match day. Austria needed at least a draw to stay ahead of Bosnia in Group H and got it 1-1, a 77th-minute equalizer to qualify for its first World Cup since '98. They lost in the Pathé semifinal playoff in 2022. And finally, Scotland jumps Denmark on the final day of Group C and returns to the global stage. Required all 3 points against the Danes and won it 4-2. Scott McTominay set the mood with a bicycle kick goal inside the first 3 minutes. No better set of fans to have at the party next summer, that's for sure. That brings us to the next step, the playoffs. Second-place finishers in all groups and the 4 highest-ranked non-second-place nations are still alive. They were divided into 4 pots and drawn yesterday. Here's a look. First of all, Sweden finished last in Group B on 2 points. They are still kicking due to Nations League influence. Confusing rules indeed. And oh boy, Italy finds itself in another playoff. The 4-time world champs at risk of missing a 3rd consecutive World Cup. Mighty North Macedonia in 2022 semifinals packed them up. Who could it be this year? And how could we move on without mentioning Troy Parrott and Ireland, who didn't look good at all in the early months? They have Czechia in this playoff, even lost to Armenia. That put them in a spot where they had to beat Portugal and Hungary back-to-back to get to the playoff, and they did just that. 2-1 over Portugal, 3-2 over Hungary. 23-year-old Troy Parrott scored all 5 goals, by the way, including a 96-minute winner to beat Liverpool Szoboszlai and the Hungarians. Absolute scenes there. Switching regions to CONCACAF, which provides the smallest nation to ever qualify for a World Cup in terms of population. That is Curacao, which punched its ticket on Tuesday. The Caribbean nation is home to only 156,000 people, and somehow they fielded 11 worthy of the World Cup. Also through Haiti, Panama. Remember, Panama took the American spot in the 2018 World Cup. No worries qualifying for 2026, though, as the host nations automatically play, putting the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in the mix. Finally, there are 2 intercontinental playoff spots awarded to this region. Jamaica and Suriname headed there. We'll get to that in a moment, but first, let's move south. CONMEBOL sees no big surprises, although Chile's downfall has been dramatic, finishing last this time around. Argentina, Ecuador, and Colombia finished 1, 2, 3 in the table, and Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay finishing 4, 5, 6. Bolivia in 7th awarded the playoff spot. Crossing the Atlantic to Africa, where a couple of big names failed. No Nigeria, no Cameroon in 2026. That is now 2 straight denials for the Nigerians. Those who did qualify directly, however, Egypt, Algeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia, and Cape Verde, qualifying for the first time, becoming the smallest nation by land area to qualify. Cape Verde is slightly larger than the U.S. state of Rhode Island. Meanwhile, the 2nd largest African country, the DRC, is headed to the playoff. All aboard to Asia. The normal names here, Australia, Japan, and so on. But how about Uzbekistan and Jordan, 2 first-timers getting in? The playoff spot went to Iraq. Oceania gets 1 direct slot, which unsurprisingly went to New Zealand, and 1 playoff slot as well occupied by New Caledonia. All right, here's a look at that intercontinental playoff. Like Europe, it will be played in March. Mexico is a host. The DRC faces the winner of Jamaica, New Caledonia, and Iraq gets the winner of Bolivia and Suriname. Only 6 total World Cup appearances shared by those 6 nations. This madness is a trade-off for what might be some stinker matchups at the World Cup, frankly. Certainly any nation would be thrilled to land at Curacao or Cape Verde in their group. Exciting nonetheless, and that's more than enough from me. Patrick is back with the Thursday Night Football recap. A good game for once, Patrick.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it was about time. Last night's AFC showdown between the Bills and Texans was nothing short of electric. I mean, the reigning MVP Josh Allen went on the road to NRG Stadium, and a 5-point favorite spread came with him. The Texans' defense has been number 1 in opponent points per game, but Josh Allen, coming off a 350-yard and 6-touchdown showing against the Buccaneers, CJ Stroud is still down with his injury, so in stepped Davis Mills, and let's just say he answered the call. Bills opened the game with a monstrous James Cook 45-yard touchdown run and a crucial missed extra point afterwards that came back to bite them in the end. The touchdown must have been a wake-up call for the Texans defense because after it, they racked up 8 sacks. A name that may have faded into your memory a little bit, Christian Kirk found the end zone for the first time this year on this wide-open touchdown to give the Texans the lead. It wouldn't be fair to not talk about the monster season James Cook is having. He's already eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards with 9 touchdowns to show for it. Speaking of 9, Josh Allen was looking like J.J. McCarthy out there on this interception. Bad reads like this still proved to be a huge hole in Josh Allen's skill set overall, a problem that didn't affect him much last year but is now kind of creeping back in. The Bills needed another big play, and their prayers were answered pretty quick. 97 yards all the way to the crib as Ray Davis front flips the Bills ahead by 3. The Bills' first mistake was leaving enough time for Davis Mills to absolutely dot up his receivers in the 2-minute drill. Rookie Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State added his 4th touchdown of the year. The Texans' passing attack continues to be pretty impressive behind Davis Mills, ever since he led an historic comeback on the Jaguars. Sorry, Grant. Another guy on the Texans I've been very impressed with is rookie Woody Marks out of USC. It's not just because we have the same last name. He's just been a very focal point of this offense as, Nick Chubb doesn't really look like his true self anymore. Texans defense just continued to execute in the second half. Caitlin Bullock with a beautiful punch out on Khalil Shakir set up for another Texans field goal to put them up by 7. Like I said, that missed extra point came back to haunt them in the end. The Texans' pressure generated was just immaculate. The Bills had to settle for a field goal to make it a 4-point game. Bills needed a touchdown, and it was looking great, following this beautiful hook and ladder concept from Palmer and Shakir all the way to the 25-yard line. Josh Allen must have thought it was the AFC Championship, though, left one right in the breadbasket to the defense to seal their fate. Bills, who started the year 4-0, now sit at 7-4. Texans started the year 0-3, now sit at 6-5. We've seen how dominant their defense truly is. 8 sacks and 2 interceptions will just do wonders for your win probability. Got to shout out Davis Mills again, who's now 3-0 as a backup and may have saved the Texans season. That's all for this semester from me. I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. Caden, can you fill us in on what's been happening in the NBA?
Thanks, Patrick. And while Thursday Night Football was great, the NBA mimicked Hollywood with its own version of the Return of the King, as it saw one of the all-time legends return to the hardwood on Tuesday, LeBron James. James played in his first game this year against the Utah Jazz after battling sciatica to start the year. While playing on immense restriction, James finished the night with 11 points and a team-leading 12 assists. And while the Lakers may have gotten a key piece back from injury, the NBA is staring at a serious problem as stars left and right are hitting the injury report. MVP candidates Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo are both listed to be sidelined for multiple weeks, with their respective injuries leaving their teams and fans hopeful for their eventual returns. Sadly, the injuries don't stop there as star guards Ja Morant, Trae Young, and Aaron Nesmith are all dealing with varying ailments that will keep them on the bench for the month to come. It's not all doom and gloom in the NBA, especially if you're a fan of the Houston Rockets. Houston, who's currently 3rd in the West, has been borderline unstoppable on the glass. They lead the league in rebounds at 50 per game. And not so surprising feat if you take into account that they boast the tallest starting lineup in NBA history, with their shortest player, Amen Thompson, listed at 6'7", and the rest of their lineup at 6'11" or above. Houston may be on fire to start the season, but go a couple hours up to Dallas, and that Mavericks looking like a dumpster fire. Despite landing what looks to be a generational talent in Cooper Flagg, the Mavericks only won 4 games this year, with 2 of those coming against the Pacers and the Wizards, who have combined 3 wins on the year. The main problem with Dallas, aside from the Luka trade a year ago, is once again injuries. Superstar point guard Kyrie Irving is yet to suit up in the royal blue after tearing his ACL last year, and the way the season is going, it may not matter. And of course, Anthony Davis is dealing with yet another injury has kept him off the court for Dallas. I'm not saying a fire sale is on the way, but if Luka was traded, surely anyone except for Flagg is fair game. Now we're going to head to a short break, but don't go anywhere as we have loads of more stories and sports to share with you as we continue to run it back.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good. for greatness. Can you hear it?
To wrap this show up, we have the one and only Roundtable. And then before it gets too cold and less people are on the street, we thought it was time for one more man on the street. So we took to them to get people's takes on KU basketball. And as Thanksgiving is right around the corner, there's a lot to be thankful for. I know I'm thankful for this show and the people I've met. We asked our crew what all they're thankful for too. That's coming up soon. First, let's get the Roundtable's hot takes from this week.
Thanks, Jameson. From upsets to blowouts to surprise nail-biters like the Panthers and Falcons matchup last week, the NFL lived up to his reputation of anything happening on any given Sunday. I'm Caden, joined by Emil and Jimmy, predicting another great slate of games this week. Starting the noon time slot, the reigning AFC champs Kansas City Chiefs and the upstart Indianapolis Colts face off at Arrowhead. Jimmy, do you see the Chiefs riding the ship here with the W, or more continued dominance from this Colts squad?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this. I just can't see them going to 5-6. Although the Colts have a very dominant run game, but I think the Chiefs' defensive line can get to Daniel Jones. We've seen it against the Steelers. When you get pressure on him, he kind of folds and goes back to Daniel Jones. So I think if the Chiefs can get some pressure on him, then they can, right the ship.
Well, Jimmy, I do think they go 5-6. I think the Colts win. The Chiefs' D-line has been pretty mediocre this season. The defense as a whole, not Spagnuolo quality. And then, Jonathan Taylor would be MVP if it wasn't a QB award. I mean, I understand Daniel Jones, when he gets pressured, he definitely gets in his own head, but I think the Colts O-line will be good enough to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, Sally, I'm going with you, Emil. I'm not completely tanking on the season and the playoff hopes at this point, but I think that, the Chiefs just aren't pulling out the big games right now, especially against the Broncos. Again, Jonathan Taylor should be the MVP. He's going to run rampant on this defense. Even though it's not bad, it's just not that good. And it's painful for me to say, Mahomes is missing the deep balls all year long. It's looking like Jalen Daniels out there at Arrowhead every single Sunday. I think it's a shootout, but I think that the Colts get this done. Divisional matchups always make for the best action and storylines, and this game should be no different as the Eagles travel to Arlington, Texas, take on their heated rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. Since 2020, matchups between these two have been deadlocked at 5-5. Jimmy, who breaks up this tie with the win on Sunday?
I'm going to go with the Eagles sweeping the Cowboys. They had a good defensive matchup. Their defense played well against the Raiders, although the Raiders are terrible. So I don't really think it's really going to actually hold up. The Eagles' defense has been playing really well, holding opponents to under 10 points. I don't think they're going to hold the Cowboys to under 10 points, but I do think they'll hold them to under 20 points. And the Eagles' offense, I think, will do just enough to squeak by and win in Dallas.
I think the Cowboys split. The Eagles have not looked that good, putting up barely any points the past 2 weeks. The Cowboys have been putting up a lot of points, even with their wide receivers being benched the first drive of the game. I think that the offense of the Cowboys is going to be too much for that Eagles defense and that Eagles offense to come back from.
Yeah, usually I never trust Dak in big time, prime time. But this pick is more of an indictment, like you said, on just the Eagles' big three. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, they're not working right now. Genuinely, the run game's not working, the pass game's not working. He's missing big throws. I just don't see them pulling this off. The offense has been stuck in reverse for weeks now, honestly. I think it'll be close. I think Dallas gets the win here. And then, finally, Monday Night Football sees the 6-5 Panthers head to Santa Clara, California for their contest against the 7-4 49ers. Jimmy, as part of the Panther faithful, do you see Bryce Young point on the victory in primetime?
I will. I know that it's very difficult, but California's hometown for Bryce Young. I think and T-Mac, I think they go back home and get the win. I think they build off that strong performance they had against the Atlanta Falcons, and they're able to pull out a win.
Yeah, I think the Panthers take it as well. I think the 49ers are just too injured right now. The Panthers, they have Rico Dowdle and Tet, who's been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL this year. I mean, he's been great. I just think that the Panthers are going to take it.
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with you guys both. You guys are insane. There's no way the Panthers are winning this on prime time. Brock Purdy's back. Kyle Shanahan's there. They're getting healthy with George Kittle. He's going to do George Kittle things. I don't see a way that they're going to win this game. Well, that's all the time we have for picks this week. Up next, the RunitBack crew is on the streets asking students all about KU basketball.
I, for one, would be so thankful if Darren Peterson could please come back from injury and help out this KU men's basketball team. And speaking of things we're thankful for, this being our last show of Run It Back for the semester and our last show before Thanksgiving, we wanted to take a look around the crew and run it back, seeing what we're thankful for.
I'm thankful for my dog.
I'm thankful for my family, my friends, and for Run It Back for bringing me so many new friends.
One thing I'm grateful for this Thanksgiving, this guy.
Hi guys, I'm thankful for all the connections I've made and the people I've met from this show and all the opportunities I've been given, so yeah.
Let's go Run It Back. It's Patrick here. Just wanted to say I'm thankful for eggnog, my friends and family, and Thursday night football games. I'm looking forward to break because I get to see my rabbit Ferris, and he's pretty cute.
I'm really thankful for my mom and dad's support and love throughout my time here at KU, and I just want to say thank you to them for always believing in me and supporting me throughout my time.
My name is Michael Tomasco. Over break, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of my hometown friends. We go to college all over the country, so I don't really get to see them too often, so I'm really thankful to get to spend some time with them.
What's up, Run It Back? This is Liam, one of the producers, and I am thankful for my family, my friends, my dog, my cat, the roof over my head. I'm thankful for the Run It Back crew and all the great work they've done this semester to make my job easier. I'm thankful for Ben and Grant, the fellow Friday show producers, and just thankful that we've been able to put together this Friday show this semester. It's been a great semester.
What's up, guys? So Thanksgiving's coming up, and I'm thankful for the whole crew being able to be part of this as the first year as a freshman, and, just being able to learn the cameras and everything behind the scenes. So I'm really thankful for that.
I'm thankful for my friends, family, and all of the crew on Run It Back.
Hey guys, I'm Lindsay. I'm the TD for Run It Back. I'm thankful for my family, my friends, the J School, the University of Kansas, and everyone on the Run It Back crew.
What's up, guys? My name is Ben. I'm a producer for Run It Back on Friday. I'm very thankful for Liam and Grant. Those are my co-producers. They help make my job a lot easier. And I'm also thankful for everybody on Run It Back, and I'm proud of all the progress that everyone's made this semester, and I'm excited for another one next year.
As for me, I'm so thankful that I get to see my best friend. Haven't seen him in almost a year, and we were best friends in high school and just haven't seen each other all that much. So I'm super thankful to be seeing him during the break. Thank you guys so much for getting all those clips in from the crew. We appreciate it. And we'll send it over to Jameson to close us out on this semester's show of Run It Back.
I'd probably say I'd switch lives with Flory for a day so I could ride his electric scooter. That's all we have for this week's episode. One of the best parts of Friday mornings is our show, but unfortunately this is the last one of the semester. After break, to keep up with us, tune in at 2:30 on Mondays. Playmakers is live at 12 on Fridays with more sports content. While we are headed home for the holidays, if you miss us, Media Crossroads always has all of our episodes. KU sports are still in full swing, so for any of you Lawrence natives, tickets are available for games. That's all we have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next semester on Run It Back.